Welcome to Empire Building. I'm Wendy Papazan, and together with my 4 co-hosts, we bring you weekly unfiltered conversations about leadership, growing a big empire, and living on your own terms.
I'm Kimber Levitt-Minkiti. We are investors and wealth builders with over $75 million in combined net worth.
I'm Sarah Reynolds. We are visionaries who built more than 50 businesses with over $122 million in annual revenue.
I'm Tiffany Fikes. We've led thousands of people and do it all while being pretty good moms.
And I'm Seychelle Van Poole. We are your podcast to learn how to build big businesses and even bigger lives.
Hi, Empire Builders. I'm Kimber Levitt-Minkiti, and excited to have you join us for another episode of Empire Building. And I'm here with my incredible co-host, Seychelle Van Poole. Hi, Seychelle.
Good morning. I am so excited for today's episode because I think it is going to be right up everyone's alley of something that we all hold near and dear to our heart and struggle with on a daily basis. So I'm so excited for what we're talking about today.
Yes. And, we always reserve our special guest slot for super special people. And so I'm very excited that we are joined in the studio today with USA Today best-selling author of Rich Relationships, How to Create a $1 Million Network for Your Business, a multi-7-figure entrepreneur, and ultimately a true master of high-value connections. So Selena Soo, we're so glad that you're with us, and welcome to Empire Building.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to dive in.
Us too.
Yes, we're excited too.
Selena, where are you joining us today? Where are you coming from?
Oh, yeah, I'm joining you in Toronto. So, yeah, it's been an interesting past 6 months. I have been living in Puerto Rico for 7 years, and I'm in the process of relocating. I've also been on the road for my book, for events, and now I'm about to relocate to Dubai. So I'm stepping into like a whole new life chapter.
That's amazing.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's amazing. I can't wait for us to talk a little bit about that too. And I love that you're literally making across the world trek coming up this week. So thank you for carving out time for us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Selena, I had a chance to get introduced to you through Rory Vaden and his Influential Brand podcast. And when you started talking, I was like, oh my goodness, like you are speaking the language of both Empire Building and Her Best Life. And as you talked about the 6 circles of connection that will unpack, it really, it resonated with me because this powerful circles of women have literally transformed my life and were the birthplace for us of an organization because we started to see this big gap for many women entrepreneurs who were missing this opportunity for deep connection. So it all started with I was actually just reaching out to say thank you for sharing a framework with the world. And I think that ended up having an exchange and led us to today. So I'm excited to have you on and get to unpack a little bit more of your story.
I love it.
So as we dive in today, a lot of our listeners have built really big businesses. And at some point we look up and we realize that we've built success, but we have lost connection. And it becomes lonely. And so today I'm really excited for us to unpack your vision behind your book, Rich Relationships, and also how you view that. And starting with the 6 circles, I would love for us to dive in and really understand what that looks like for you and how that has helped you, how that has helped your readers and your clients, because I think this is a really powerful way in which we can view our own relationships and with Her Best Life, something that we see over and over and over again as a struggle that we have to grow through.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm so excited about this topic because I really feel like the quality of our relationships determine the quality of our life and also the quality of our business. And I think when I was starting out as an entrepreneur and in my career, I didn't necessarily have the same criteria, that I do now. And so I want to define what a rich relationship is for everyone. So we're kind of using the same language and then we can
Love it.
dive into the 6 circles and all the things, because I think when it comes to creating your $1 million network, the number one thing is discernment, right? Who should be in it. And so a rich relationship is basically one that massively enriches the quality of your life. And there's 3 core characteristics. So a rich relationship is actually going to be one that is directly connected to your goals and dreams, that person can help you move there faster, right? And related to that, they also want to see you win, right? The truth is not everyone wants to see you win. Not everyone genuinely cares about you. So that is an essential quality of a rich relationship. Second, a rich relationship creates financial abundance for you. You feel expansive in these relationships. You feel like you can do more in collaboration because you know these people and because they want to see you win. And there's different ways that people can create abundance in your life. It could be someone that's an incredible referral partner or a mentor who guides you to your goals, or it could even be a confidant, someone that you can just let loose with and be your vulnerable, messy self and help you get your confidence back so you can move forward. Right. So, and then the last characteristic is your rich relationships inspire you to become the best version of yourself. So they inspire you to play bigger, to be all of who you are. So rich relationships are not with people, just because they have a lot of money or they have a lot of influence. If it feels like an unhealthy or unsupportive relationship, it's not rich, right? It might be rich in lessons, but those are not the kinds of relationships we're looking to cultivate. So that's just kind of like the minimum standard that we're looking at in order to consider someone to be a rich relationship.
I love that. How did you come up with that? Because that's a very specific and defined way of which you look at that. How did you come about deciding that those were the things that you needed to define your rich relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reality is there are so many incredible people in this world. There are multiple thousands of people that we have individually crossed paths with, that we're connected to on LinkedIn. I mean, in our databases, it's even more, right? It's so many people, but really we have to kind of narrow it down, right? So the first sentence in my book is one rich relationship is more valuable than 100 casual connections, right? And I know in the real estate world it's about building a big database, and there's definitely wisdom in that. Absolutely. Additionally, within that big database, there is going to be a smaller number of people that move the needle, and those are the priority relationships. So I was like, okay, if I really have to narrow it down, what is the thing that moves the needle? And yeah, your rich relationships are people that are going to help you make your biggest dreams come true, not in a transactional way, but rather there is that alignment. We're moving in the same direction. It's synergistic for us to be in relationship, and therefore it's expansive. And then the other characteristics, connected to, inspiring you to play bigger, wanting you to win, all of that. It connects to support, right? You want to feel good in the relationship. You want to feel like somebody has your back. And as I looked at the different relationships in my life, those were really the ones that move the needle and just felt the most, nurturing and expansive.
I look at your career, you really built a career consulting entrepreneurs about visibility and influence, right? And helping them to build that. But then the book is about relationships. I'm guessing that that's the theme that you saw emerge. What led to that for you, that ultimately you were like, you know what? It's not actually about how to get you all these positions and all these places. It was about these core relationships that were accelerating that for people.
That's such a good question. And, we're both in a program with Brand Builders Group. We're both connected to the Brand Builders Group community. And, one of the things they have you do is identify the core problem that your audience is struggling with. And really the core problem is that they're not known by the right people. Because I believe that when the right people know you and they genuinely care about you, they want you to win, you've built a relationship based on what I call breathtaking generosity, anything is possible, right? So whether it's the visibility, it's the clients, it's the influence, it's the impact, right? It's rising up. All that happens through knowing the right people and creating a very supportive, expansive, and collaborative relationship. That's the gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah. So seeing that and being able to build on it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
The phrase breathtaking generosity, when I first heard that from you, really, it took me aback. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think of when they're looking at relationships. They want to give and they expect something back. And so how do you define breathtaking generosity, and what does that look like for you? Because it really, to me, it was a really beautiful way in which you view how this happens and shows up in your relationships.
Yeah, I want to talk about, I love that, breathtaking generosity, and also the 3 types of giving, because it's very interconnected. Because yes, we're all here in business, and in order to generate revenue, transactions need to happen. But just because we have transactions in our business doesn't mean that we have to be transactional in our relationship. So I kind of want to share are those kind of nuances and distinctions. So this is really inspired by Adam Grant's work. He wrote an incredible book called Give and Take. And when you look at generosity, right, generosity is the number one reason why someone would want to be in relationship with you, right? Like when we know that someone is also going to give to us and pour into us, right? And then they meet like the minimum standards of being a good person and all of that, then yeah, like we want to be around generous people, but they're not all created equal. So there's the indiscriminate givers, and we've all been all three types of these givers in moments of our lives. And so these are people that give from a place of, I want you to like me. I need to prove myself. If I'm not constantly giving, then I'm not showing my value, right? And so it's really about centering the other person. And what happens is when you give indiscriminately to really just anyone and anything that they want, then you find yourself run ragged, and sometimes you even feel used and depleted and resentful, even if you were the one that initiated the giving, right? So we all have those moments where we're like, oh my God, I so like overextended myself. So we don't really want to be operating from that place, because that is not a healthy relationship, right? With, resentment and imbalance. And then there's transactional giving. So transactional giving is short-term focused, and that's, I'll do this for you if you do this for me. And of course, we are in relationship with people where there is synergy. So that's not the issue, but it's more like, if I can't see a use for you in the near future, then I'm not interested, right? So like, let's say somebody, was a collaborator of yours or referral partner, but then all of a sudden something shifts, they have a family member who dies, they are getting a divorce, they've shifted things, they've moved. If it's a transactional relationship, it means that you're not important to me because I can't get anything out of you anymore. If it's a genuine relationship, it's like, regardless of the short term, like I genuinely care about you and I want to see you win, and I want to nurture this relationship and be in, connection with you, right? So that's kind of like the distinction. And then, so there's indiscriminate giving, there's transactional giving, and then there's rich giving. And rich giving is coming from a place of thoughtfulness and purposefulness, where you're not pouring into everybody, but you are intentionally identifying the richest relationships and giving from a place of what I call relaxed abundance, where you have so much to give. You don't need anything in the short term. And it actually feels energizing and fulfilling to pour into these people. And you're giving to the individual without expectations. But you also do expect and understand that when you're the kind of person that shows up with kindness and generosity and care consistently for people, that good things are going to come back to you. It's not about so much investing in that individual person and getting something in the moment, but it's rather investing in your overall network, right? So that's a distinction. I think so much with the giving is like the energy and the attention around the giving, because some people don't feel safe to receive from. Sometimes for a good reason, right? Because their intentions are not pure.
I think we've all had that person where we say, okay, well, if I accept this generosity from this person, I'm going to owe them in some way, or they're going to pull in a favor and it may not be what I wanted. So I'm not even sure I want to take this generosity. Like, I think the farther along you get in business, there are people that you're literally like, no, I'm good. I'll steer clear, because you're worried about what's
very
going to be
transactional.
accepted. Yeah, it is. It feels transactional, but it, like, you can see it. You can see it from a mile away.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's such a good point. And I think that when you're in a genuine relationship with someone, you actually, honor people's no's, because I don't want someone to say yes to me if secretly they don't want to do it. It's going to hurt our relationship. It's not in their best interest. I'm only interested in win-wins. But in a transactional relationship, it's like, no, it's about what I'm getting first and foremost. That's really driving the interaction. So yeah, that's a great distinction. And then let's talk about breathtaking generosity, which is a term that I've coined. And it's what it sounds like when someone does something so kind and generous, right? It like literally takes your breath away. You feel moved. You feel transformed. You remember it like 10 years later. I can't believe they did that. So the good news is we can all be breathtakingly generous, and there's two primary ways to do so. So number one is being a pain detective. Number two is being a dream amplifier. So a pain detective is someone that is really attuned to the pain and the people that matter most to them, right? And so if you were like, well, Kimber, Seychelles, Selena, like, how do I know that someone's in pain? I'm not a mind reader. There are certain categories for us to look out for. So the first one is natural disasters. I mean, I feel like everyone could raise their hand and be like, I know someone in the past 2 years that has been affected by a natural disaster, a flood, a hurricane, a fire, right? Whether their lives were transformed or their family members, right? And when people are in pain, I say, be the first to help and not the last to help. So you have to be in ready position. And we'll be talking about creating that generosity fund later, which allows you to be in ready position. So yeah, as soon as you see people are in pain because of natural disaster, you should be attuned to, oh, what can I do to help, right? The wheels should start turning. Some other categories are relationships, right? So people that may be successful in business, but if their marriage is falling apart, if their son is having major behavioral issues, if their parents are dying, if they've lost, a dear friend has passed away, like that's going to be a massive pain point in their life. Also financial, there's so many things shifting in the world that sometimes, someone maybe was at a certain revenue level and now it's like their business is falling apart or they're having an identity crisis. I was known for this one thing and now I've shut this down. I'm doing another thing. So those are the moments to really look for and show up with generosity. And then we have being a dream amplifier. So I believe for all of us who are, busy, influential people making our moves in the world, we're each like a bullet train where we're on the train tracks. We're moving full speed ahead. The bullet train is going to stop for a few moments to let people on the train, but then ultimately the doors close and it goes, forward, right? And so a lot of times when people are looking to build relationships, they have their own agenda, but what they're essentially trying to do is they're trying to pull the train off the tracks, and that's really never going to work. The way that you build a relationship is you're like, let me jump on the train, let me be a part of your journey, let me help you get to your end destination faster. And so when someone shares a big goal, whether it's they're launching a podcast or a book, or, they want to be the number one at XYZ, or they've got a revenue goal, or they're launching something, right? How can we support them in getting to their dreams faster? How can we really align ourselves directly with that goal? When you become that person, then people just become obsessed with you. They're like, wow, this is my new favorite person. It just feels so easy to be in relationship with them because I'm already moving in that direction, or they're helping me with the deepest pain point. So I'd love to share one story around this just to give an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, for myself, this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I was, living in Puerto Rico, and a lot of things were like shifting in my business. Launches that were doing really well were making like a quarter of the revenue. So I was like working 4 times as hard to make like a quarter of the money. So that was not fun. Also in Puerto Rico, a lot of people invest in crypto. And so, you hear of people that put in like 100,000 that turned into 10 million. And you're like, oh my God, I'm the stupid one that didn't, make these investments. And so I converted my retirement savings into crypto. It was like 170,000, and then I lost like $100,000 in a matter of several months.
No.
And then I had like a second property in Puerto Rico that I thought would be passive income. And what happened is in that area of Puerto Rico, there were all these homes that were popping up, and it was more of like a family kind of area. So my 2-bedroom was not attractive. And so I was basically losing like $6,000 a month. So all these things were happening. Right. And even though I consider myself to be a financially responsible and good at business, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like feeling like out of control. I'm
Very
not
out of
feeling
control.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, just like I'm a coach, like I need a coach right now to look at my money situation. So I went onto Google, I typed in like personal finance money coach, landed on the Dave Ramsey website, took a little assessment, and they assigned me with a coach. Her name is Jenna Rose. And yeah, I started working with her, and it was so great. Like, she just helped me get more perspective, create a game plan. I felt very empowered. I felt very much like at peace with her. And I'm the kind of person, when I think someone's amazing, like I want everyone to know about them. So I told all my friends that you got to work with Jenna Rose. She's going to change your life. And I found myself literally like telling certain people, like some of my very best friends, like 7 times over the course of months.
They're like, Selena, we hear you. Come on. We know. You've told us like 900 times. Yeah.
Well, I think that there's something where people have a block sometimes
Yes.
around sharing
Mhm.
about like money,
Mhm.
And so I just decided I'm just going to buy sessions for people. And so I came up with a little package with a couple of sessions with Jenna Rose, because she also understood that for a lot of people, the first call is going to be free, like a get to know you call. Sometimes it's 2 calls, right? And so she created this package, which was insane, for a couple sessions, and it was $200. So I was like, okay, well, I'm happy to gift the people that matter most to me something that's valued. I mean, it's valued so much more in terms of if they were to do the retail price, but I was able to get these $200 packages. And so when I would see friends who maybe were going through a divorce and their finances were, in a state of despair, or they lost their job, or their business wasn't doing well, I would just reach out to them and be like, hey, I was just thinking of you because I know that you're navigating this. And I too have been navigating my own set of issues. And I found this amazing person. She changed my life, and I would love to gift you a package with her. And I would say, just to be clear, like, this is a pure gift. I don't need anything in return. I would just like really love to support you so that people can feel safe in receiving, because it's not that common for people to be like, let me just give you this thing. But that's what I wanted to do. Right. And actually around that time, I had invested $7,000 in Facebook ads, which I invested a lot more. I've invested even $100,000 in Facebook ads for a single launch. But that particular time, I noticed that I was getting 0 results for Facebook ads. So I was like, for $7,000, I could invest in 35 of my rich relationships, $200 each, right? And I was like, I wonder what would happen. And so, yeah, I started supporting people in this way, and people would circle back being like, oh my goodness, like Jenna Rose showed me how I can save $1,500 a month, right? Like if we do the math here, $1,500 a month is $18,000 over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Over 2 years, that's a $36,000 savings. So I'm investing $200. It takes me like a minute to put them in touch. Jenna Rose is, supporting the client. And it's like, I would, invest $200 all day to help a friend save $36,000, or to help someone leave an emotionally abusive relationship because now they have control of their finances, right? So when you look at money, it's like you could put $200 in the stock market, and at a 7% return, which would be good, you would make $14. But $14 is not going to change your life. And I'm not saying don't invest in the stock market.
That is a Starbucks. That's a coffee.
Yeah, it's Starbucks,
yes, that's a coffee.
you should invest in the stock market, all the things. But I would say additionally, you should also consider your rich relationships an investment. And people often ask me, like, what is the ROI? It's not really how I think about it. That being said, there is an ROI. When you invest in the people that you care about the most, that you want to see win, who want to see you win, who are connected to your goals and dreams, who can help you get there faster, then of course, when you show up in breathtakingly generous ways, they're also going to want to be that person for you too, right? So like, let's say, I have a group coaching program, right? Like I support someone and they start thinking of me and referring business. I get a new $10,000 client, right? And that's a very plausible thing that could happen. $10,000 is obviously a lot more than $14. Or maybe one day I'm not doing well and I'm in trouble and I need to, speak to a friend and brainstorm new ideas, and they help me figure out a new multi-6-figure revenue stream, in my business. So I feel that like rich relationships have the most exponential return over any investment. The thing is, it's not as predictable and like I do this and then I get this out. It's not transactional. This is not like a bank,
right?
But rather you are investing in your network, knowing that your network is your net worth and your relationships are the richest part of your life.
At Her Best Life, we're not just building businesses. We're growing our net worth, leveraging our platforms for good, and living our big lives. And that's what Empire Circle is all about. It's an executive membership designed for ambitious business women leaders who want more. More growth, more profit, more impact, and more freedom. This is where powerful, deep connections meet powerful results. Apply now at herbestlife.com and join us by stepping in to Empire Circle.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you're doing there because you're taking the pain detective, right? The pain that somebody's experiencing and the dream amplifier, and you're connecting them, right? You were like, hey, I see this amazing person and I've had this great experience with them. And it's not, I think sometimes we hear it and we're like, oh my goodness, I'm already juggling all the things. I'm already doing all the stuff. I don't have time to go be the pain detective and go out and create boxes and care packages every time someone has a problem. But you're saying it takes me a minute, right? It takes me a minute to say, I see this person here and I see this person here, and I'm putting them together and I'm connecting the relationships to then create exponential impact for the people that I care most about. Like there's something really powerful about that.
Yeah, I love that, Kimber. And the other thing I'm hearing is you are slowing down enough to identify what is working for you, to create a system around something that is a massive value impact that you can replicate.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is you're not reinventing a different something for every someone. You're looking at something that has made a massive impact in your life. Like I think about Kimber and I have a TheraCoach that is amazing. And we've put several of our people in touch with them because she's helped us a ton with several of our founders with her best life of moving exponentially forward in an area of our life. And when you can slow down enough to see somebody in pain that you were in or identifying a need that they have, and you already have a little bit of a system set up, it's very easy then to be the connector with a quick solution instead of having to go back and like recreate. So I love that you strategically have slowed down enough to be able to identify that. And then the other thing I'm hearing is by going small and deep into those relationships, you're not faced with the same level of burnout of trying to maintain hundreds and thousands of relationships at a deep level. And I'd love for us to go into like the 6 circles because I feel like it's a great segue. I feel like that's the other part is you have to not be burned out to be able to to identify that. So I'd love for us to go into the 6 circles because I feel like that's a huge part of how you can have the capacity to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically everyone that you ever meet is going to, or including the people that you don't meet, fall into the 6 circles. And so a big part of energy management is understanding, who is in which circle. So if you think about 6 concentric circles, the first one is going to be the innermost circle, circle 1. So typically people have 1 to 3 people in circle 1, sometimes a few more or sometimes 0. So circle 1 are the people that are doing life with you. They're by your side. They kind of know day by day, or if not day by day, like week by week, like what is happening in your life. These are people that truly have your back. They want to see you win. You can be your full, authentic, messy self with them. So for some people, this might be their life partner. If it's a supportive life partner, it could be someone's very best friend that they're just like touching base with regularly. Sometimes it could be a business partner, assuming that's a very good, supportive relationship. So those are the circle 1s. Then you have circle 2. So like circle 1, these are people that, you feel like you're a priority for them. You might not talk to them daily or weekly, but if you reached out to them and texted them and said like, hey, I need to talk to you tonight. Like, I really need you. Even if they had an evening engagement, even if they had all these things going on, even if it was inconvenient, but when you say, hey, I really need you, they will find a way to talk to you because you're a priority. Like, it's just very important for them to show up. So that's how you know someone's a circle 2. For most people, we usually have half a dozen to a dozen or so, sometimes more. But people where it's like, I can 1,000% count on you. I have to question it. I just know they got me, right? Then we have circle 3. So circle 2 is your treasured connection. Circle 3 is your active network. So there's a lot of people in circle 3. There's 3 characteristics though for them to be in here. So the 3 R's. So the first is respect. If someone is in circle 3, you have to respect them. You have to admire them for who they are, right? Like you can vouch for their personal character. The second one is recommend, right? So also on a professional level, you would feel comfortable recommending them to others to work with them. You would feel comfortable putting them in touch with your close friends and clients so you know that they would do right by them, right? And then the third R is responsive. So if you reach out to them, you're going to hear back. Right? People are busy. So maybe if it's not, right away, it's like, but they're not going to ghost you. They are responsive and so forth. Right? And so your active network are people that you would invite to the party, introduce to others. If they were in town and they needed a place to crash for a night, you might feel comfortable letting them into your home, right? Or just come over for dinner or something, right? So that's kind of circle 3. Then you have circle 4. So these are your distant connections, and there's different reasons why people might be there. So if you've just only met someone for the first or second time, it's very early in the relationship. Even if you're like, oh my gosh, this is my new business bestie. Like, I feel like we've known each other for years, but 1 or 2 conversations, they haven't earned their spot in the closer circles, right? They're still an acquaintance. And the reality is like people reveal themselves over time and you're like, oh, there's this thing, right? So early relationship is going to be in circle 4. Other people that might be in circle 4, you may have known them for years, but maybe there's a reason why you feel like you need to keep them at a little bit of an arm's length. Maybe it's like they're a great person, but they're always down in the dumps and they have this victim mentality. Or, they drop the ball, they're not reliable, maybe their work is a little sloppy. So you're like, okay, they can still be in my network and I like them, but just a little bit of distance. I'm not going to recommend them with enthusiasm and loop them into all the things, right? Another reason why someone might be in circle 4 is, they're an acquaintance and you are at a place where you don't have bandwidth. Your circle 1s, 2, and 3s, like they really feel like full to the brim. Like I don't have more to give. And so I like them. I'm going to be cordial. I care about them, but I can't like really be in that deeper kind of relationship with them right now. So that's our distant connection, circle 4. Then we have circle 5. So circle 5 are your disconnected relationships. Over our multiple decades of life, we usually will have, a couple of people that have fallen into that category. Usually they have done something to betray you. A line has been crossed and you're just like, I can't. I'm done with this relationship. Or they did nothing to you, but you know from others that they are a harmful person. Maybe they don't have good business ethics. Maybe they're dangerous. Maybe they're a gossip. And you're just like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't, right? I don't want to deepen that relationship. I don't want to share information with them. I don't want to have them at the party, right? Like I would feel uncomfortable sitting next to them at an event for 2 hours. So that's kind of when they're in your circle 5. It's just like reach a place where you're like, this is not a healthy relationship. This is not supportive for me to be with this person. And then last but not least, there's circle 6. So that's everyone else out in the world that you haven't connected with and had that conversation. I remember someone once saying, maintaining a friendship not rooted in your truth keeps you out of integrity. And by extension, really maintaining any relationship not rooted in your truth keeps you out of integrity. And when I heard that, I just had like shivers like up and down my arms because I had multiple relationships in my life where I felt like that, not because I was seeking those kind of relationships, but rather over time, as I got to know who these people really were, I saw how we were not compatible. Whether it was, my former sales manager who was so charismatic and I felt like she had my back, but at the same time, she would get really emotionally volatile on occasion. And I felt afraid inside my own company. And that, I felt all this pressure to make sure that she was happy and making the money, right? Or, whether it's a romantic partner that starts out good when really you realize, oh, it was like love bombing. And then now this person that was my number one fan is like my biggest critic and trying to, take over my company.
Uncool.
How have you thought about like move? Because that's a real thing that's happening, right? In business and life. And
Yeah.
I love that you've actually defined that disconnected relationship. How have you seen people really intentionally, like you're saying, like move with intentionality out of that? Because I think this idea of integrity, what you're saying, is so powerful because it's how we think about it, right? If you're maintaining these relationships that aren't serving you and you're not defining that, that's also leaving space that you're not then getting to the active network and to the deeper connections because these people are kind of holding that space in your world. How have you moved through that and navigated that for yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, it would be a customized strategy for each person, depending on the damage that they've caused, how deep they are in your business and life. When you think about like, how do you remove them? But just some like small initial things is you don't want to be nurturing that relationship, right? So even if there's someone that you're like, I don't really, don't feel like at ease with them, maybe they post something on social media. It's like an inspirational quote or they won an award and there's a part of you that like is like, I need to keep distance, but a part of you that wants to cheer them on. Stifle that impulse and do not, don't leave comments. I know these sound like small things, but you just got to like stop adding fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? Maybe you kind of hide them so you don't see their stuff in their feed. If they reach out to you, you can still respond to them, but don't respond instantly. Maybe it's, you give it some space. And so they realize, oh, this isn't someone, the relationship doesn't feel really like active and responsive and like alive. So that's kind of one thing. Another thing is just like when they invite you to things or they want to engage with you, like pushing it off. You can be like, oh, thanks for the invitation. I'm just really like at capacity. I'm not going to be able to make it. And just when you continuously say no, then people kind of move on to the next person. Sometimes you have to remove people from your company and you have to have the conversation, whether it's like, hey, I think this isn't really working, or I think things have shifted. We don't need you as much anymore. Or if there's someone that, is volatile and complaining and it's like you have them like share like, I really want to hear you out, and they just share all the things they don't like and like what else and they've shared like a million things and it's like, Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, it really seems like, I don't know if this is the best place for you. Like I think that you probably need something else. They kick themselves out of the company, right? Like that's great. And sometimes you have to like end the relationship. There was someone that I actually had to write a letter to because I felt like I couldn't have a conversation. Every time I had a conversation, it was gaslighting and I had these feelings of being disrespected. But then I became the problem somehow where it's like, oh, I always need to walk on eggshells around you and that I create an unsafe environment.
Yeah, you're like, how am I in this boat? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's just like a different strategy, and people should definitely pick up a copy of Rich Relationships. Like outline like all the different things that you can do, but that's one of the truly the best things that you can do for yourself. If a relationship is causing you headache and heartache and making you feel out of integrity in your life and making you feel unsafe, yeah, you got to start distancing yourself. And in extreme cases, end the relationship. Potentially in a very formal way, but like we're done.
Well, I think this idea that when you do that, you're not leaving room for these powerful, trusted, active relationships to flourish and to pour into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right, like because we only have so much bandwidth, and so if you're feeding the things that aren't serving you, are you leaving space for those that can?
No, what you said is really profound because I found that even if you look at clients, right? Like one bad client can take up 4 times the energy than a good client. And the bad client is like draining energy. And just in terms of like minutes and hours, like having to resolve problems, talk to them, soothe them, appease them, right? It's like it's taking up 4 times the amount of time. And then the good client is like so much less and it energizes you and it expands you and you have the energy to do more, right? Yeah, I even remember when I, used to work with a business coach. A lot of our coaching calls, at times would end up being about difficult people in my life. And it was like, when you're spending time resolving like these issues with people that are challenging, like you're not focused on making your impact, making money, supporting other people. So yeah, it definitely, I mean, it's the opposite of a rich relationship. It can really, cause the quality of your life and business to suffer.
Something that makes me think about that too, Selena, is like the noisiest one in the room is the one that gets the most attention. And even in coaching with our team members and our friends, even just asking like, who are your most joyous clients or who are your like most joyous people in your life and do they know it?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I love that.
That was a good coaching question for me. I was like, I'm going to ask this for my team next week because you're right. They all come to the coaching sessions with their problems. And those are important too. And are we slowing down and taking time to reward the behavior, reward the people in our world that we want to see more of? So thank you for that. That was a huge gift. I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love what you talk about. It also made me think about this idea that to build rich relationships, we have to be expressive. So there's different ways to be expressive, right? But when you look at the most successful people in the world, right? Actresses, athletes, innovators, right? They are out in the world expressing and sharing their gifts. And, it's important to be seen, even if you're an introvert. Like I identify as an introvert, but, I'm out there. I'm sharing my knowledge through my book. I'm posting on social media. I'm hosting dinner parties. I'm doing all these fun things. Because when you express yourself, people feel like, oh, I know you, I'm inspired by you. But another way to express yourself is through words of affirmation and letting people know that they matter to you. So, we can think in our hearts like, oh my gosh, I love this person. They're such a badass. Or, we're cheering them on like silently. But, we want to actually make that public, so like maybe you're with a friend and you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so too. Yeah, I adore her. Like she's such an amazing person. She did this and that for me. She's one of my favorite people. Instead of just having that private conversation, what I recommend you do is take a photo of the two of you together and text the person and send them a voice note and be like, were your ears burning? We were just raving about what an amazing person you are, right? So you are expressing yourself and expressing gratitude, and that's going to deepen the relationship, right?
I love that.
So there's just so many moments where you can kind of like privately to that person or publicly or just give someone a shout out, right? So I, previously my big focus was publicity, getting people into major media. And there would be times where I would connect people who weren't my official client, but I knew, ooh, this journalist is looking for this kind of expert, right? And when the person would share on social media, oh, I'm featured in the New York Times, I'm featured in Forbes, right? It always meant so much to me when someone would acknowledge me. They didn't have to, but when they were like, oh my gosh, I would have never gotten this opportunity if it wasn't for so and so, right? Or you get someone a job or a big client. We're not doing it because it's like, we generally just want to help. It's not like it needs to be a transaction, we need a fee, but we want to feel appreciated, right? And when we can use our words to express just like, hey, I couldn't have done this without you, or like that meant so much to me, that will really deepen a rich relationship. And when people feel appreciated, they feel inspired to do more and give more. And I think a lot of us don't publicly appreciate people enough.
Yeah, I think it creates like this permission. We talk a lot about in our HBL, Her Best Life world, that sometimes we need this like permission to do this thing. And I think for so many entrepreneurs, especially for women, this idea of like, I got to carry it all. I have to do it all myself. Asking for help is a sign of weakness. And so I think this modeling of saying like of publicly doing that creates a space where people start to make those connections, do it more intentionally. But how do you think about that part of like, hey, this idea of dream amplifier means you have to like be confident enough to speak your dreams out loud so that people can lend that support and see that piece. And part of what we've created is that trusted circle to be able to say, this is a safe space to dream, to actually name it so that other people can help get you there without wanting anything from you for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when people say like, oh, I feel like I'm in one-sided relationships, or I feel like the relationships are not reciprocal or whatever, or no one ever gives to me. There's a couple of things going on. And by the way, I personally don't like the word reciprocity. I know it's more of a semantics thing, but I believe in generosity over reciprocity, and I believe in energetic abundance. When I give to someone, I'm not waiting to see what they're going to give back to me, right? It doesn't. And some relationships will never feel equal, nor should they. If there's I don't know, there's someone that you really admire who has built $1 billion business, you're not going to be acting in reciprocal ways with them. Or a mentor should always be giving more to the mentee, right? Especially if they're being paid, right? And so forth. But I think a lot of people, right, the reason why they're not receiving help is there's a few reasons. One, they pick the wrong people. They didn't pick the right rich relationships, because true rich relationships want to see you win. But the second thing is they haven't communicated what their goals and dreams are, right? So if you show up in relationship and someone's like, oh, can I help you with this? And they're like, no, I got it. Or like, oh, or how can I help you? What's important to you in your world right now? Like, oh, I don't know. Let me think about it. If you give someone nothing to work with, it's going to be hard for them to show up for you. So you might feel like, oh, they're not, but it's like you didn't give them anything to work with, or you didn't know how to ask for help in the right way. So there's kind of like a skill set around receiving. But yeah, in the book early on, I talk about the importance of having the internal clarity about what your biggest goals and dreams are and communicating them with others. So I have an event called Rich Relationships Mastery, and I bring together successful entrepreneurs to spend 3 days on building, nurturing, and activating their $100 million network. And I tell them, like, before you enter the room, I want you to get clear on what your top 3 goals are, because we're going to put them up on the wall. We're going to put them in the directory, the spreadsheet we have, and we're also going to have you share them with people every single day. But you're going to share different goals and dreams with people. If you're going to a business workshop, if you have a goal of maybe like redecorating your home or taking your, you might not share that, but it might be, your goal is, I want to figure out how to, I don't know, penetrate this new market or have a successful book launch, or, so it's also, we have a lot of different goals and dreams. You need to identify the right types of goals and dreams to share with people that they can actually help you with.
That makes perfect sense.
I love it. This is so much good stuff. I feel like we could keep going forever, but I know we have to get ready to wrap.
Oh, it's so hard, but yes.
It's so hard. So good. So good. Well, and I think this is the reminder that I think hopefully, our listeners really need, that the richest empires, right? We talk about empire building, but really the richest ones that you're going to have are really built on a foundation of strong relationships. And that's really powerful. It's not this big ocean. It's really these intentional quality ones that are are generous, not reciprocal.
Are generous.
Right?
I call it energetically abundant. Energetically abundant.
Energetically abundant. I love that. And you've got a gift for our listeners, so I want to make sure that they know where to find you and a way that they can deepen their own rich relationships after this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when people read the book, they often tell me that their favorite thing are my rich relationship scripts because rich relationships are created through conversation, right? But a lot of times people don't know what to say. What do I say to build a relationship? How do I nurture the relationship? And how do I activate the relationship and receive support without it feeling transactional and instead strengthening the relationship? So, a lot of people they need the language to start creating these relationships. And so throughout the book, there are incredible scripts. And what I decided to do is actually put the scripts all in one place so you can access them. So these are my $1 million scripts. So we have over 20 of these. Additionally, I created a bundle where you get the 20 scripts and also the first 4 chapters for free. So people can go to richrelationshipsbook.com/Keller Williams. So richrelationshipsbook.com/Keller Williams. And they can get all of my rich relationship scripts. I'm sure there's going to be one, if not like a dozen, that can help you right away, as well as the first 4 chapters of the book for free.
I love that. And I just got my book. So hopefully they get that and then they can go on and grab it. I'm excited. I bought a couple extras so that I can share with people because I feel like it's a good example of how we can be those pain detectives. So awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Selena, so much.
Yeah, look forward to being in touch with everyone. And just remember, one rich relationship is more valuable than 100 casual connections.
I love that. Thanks, Selena. We appreciate you. Have an amazing week and a great move.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not Keller Williams Realty LLC and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.